In this practical, we're going to be looking at an example of a photochemical reaction, so a reaction that needs light in order to happen. So I've got 3 test tubes here. Each of them contain the same amount of hexane. Okay, so 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, just a straight chain alkane. We're going to be reacting this with bromine. Okay, now bromine is a very nasty chemical, so I'm going to be using it in the fume cupboard today. And in the presence of light, the bromine is able to break apart because it's Br2, so it's able to break apart, and it's able to replace the hydrogen, one of the hydrogens on the hexane chain. Okay, when that happens, the orange of the bromine will disappear and it will become colourless. And so what we're going to do with these 3 test tubes is we're going to see what effect covering up part and or all of the test tube has on whether or not this reaction can take place. Okay, so I am going to turn the fan on, so I apologise if it's a bit noisy. I'm going to add the bromine, and we don't need very much of this at all. Just need a couple of drops in each. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Right, put 1 in there. Okay. So I'm just going to put the lid on the bromine, and then I'm going to cover this last tube completely so no light can get in. I'm going to switch the lamp on. Okay, we're going to leave this over a few minutes, and we'll come back to this in a couple of minutes to see whether or not a reaction has occurred. Okay, so I've left this for about 5 minutes and it's time to look at the results. Hopefully you can see that the test tube that has been in the light all of this time hasn't quite gone colourless, but the dark orange colour of the bromine has faded quite substantially. Okay, so that shows that a reaction has taken place. And now let's bring out our test tube that was half covered. If we lift this up, again we can see that the orange colour is much darker compared to the one that was left in the light, and if we look very carefully we can see it's just started to become a slightly lighter orange towards the top where there was a little bit of light available. Okay, and then our last one, the one that was completely covered, okay, again hasn't reacted at all. All right, so these 2 are quite similar. Perhaps could have left the cover a little bit lower on the middle tube, just to help the top of that decolorise a little bit more. But we can clearly see that there's an effect of light there, and even as we watch it now we can see that the orange colour is starting to fade because of the light. So the bromine is able to use the energy coming from the lamp to break apart and swap places with the hydrogen on the hexane.